Oh, it is a good day to play RuneScape. A new update just arrived and it feels like Thanos snapped away 50% of my sadness. Varlamore Part 2 is here, and with it we get tons of new quests, a new herblore minigame, a new group boss, a new agility arena, a new slayer dungeon with its own boss, and so much more. So let's jump right in and I'll show you everything you need to know about this update. Let's start with the new group boss, Hueycoatl. In the last few years, Jagex has this fetish where they need to give every new boss and location names that nobody can pronounce. So instead of me saying Hueycoatl every 5 seconds and messing it up, I'm gonna call this boss the Serpent Boss. The way to access the Serpent Boss is easy. Number 1, it lies just south of Underskild, so you can just run there. Number 2, you can just use your Quetzal whistle to teleport to Quetzalcoatl Gorge, and this is where you can bank as well. And number 3, once you have acquired the pendant of Atitis, you can come to this statue, activate it, and it teleports you right next to the boss. I will talk about this pendant later on in the video as well. What are the requirements for this boss, you ask? Well, it's mostly for medium to high level players. You can solo this alone, but it's definitely recommended to do it in a group. I found that the best way to do it is in small groups, like 3 to 6 people at maximum. The location of this boss is at Dark Frost Mountain, but the fight already starts at the bottom of the mountain. The first part of the boss is very simple. Just attack the Serpent's boss tail through many of the cave entrances and avoid the AoE attack while doing so. Once all the cave entrances are defeated, the Serpent boss allows you to enter the top of the mountain, and now you have to fight the head of the serpent. The boss has another mechanic where it throws a shard of the specific color and you have to protect against it. Blue shard is magic, green is ranged, and red shard is melee. Once the boss reaches 50% health, you can only attack the tails on both sides. It also sends out a shockwave that you can run or walk over at the right time and not take any damage. The tail has a mechanic where the max hit you can do is only 9, so the best weapons are the ones that have multiple hits, like thorax hammers, the new dual machas, or the new mid-game weapon Glacial the Motley, which I will talk about later on as well. After roughly 12 seconds, the tail will appear on the other side of the mountain and will send out another shockwave, so keep attacking the tail until its HP reaches 0. Once the tail has been defeated, you can go back to attacking the boss with your main weapon. The only real mechanic in this boss is that you have to look out for the 3 pillars on the side. The blue pillar requires you to protect from magic, the green one is protect from range, and the red one is protect from melee. The pillars will charge if anyone at the party has protection prayers turned on. So for example, if I turn on protection from mage, the blue pillar will charge up. If someone in my party has protection from range turned on, the green one will charge up, and so on. If all 3 pillars have maximum charge, you will deal approximately 50% bonus damage to the Serpent's boss. Once the boss has been defeated, there will be 15 seconds of downtime to fight again, and during this time you can slide down the mountain and bank if needed, or you can just wait for the boss to spawn again and it will knock you down. The Serpent boss has 3 main rewards. Number 1 is the Dome of Earth, which is very similar to Dome of Fire and Dome of Water. Number 2 reward is the Hueycoatl Hide Armor, which is almost on par with Blessed Hide, except it gives slightly better magic defense and more prayer bonus. And number 3 reward is the completion of Dragon Hunter weapons. Currently we have Dragon Hunter Crossbow and Dragon Hunter Lance. This boss now drops Dragon Hunter Wand, which is the magic version and requires 65 magic to equip. It gives 10% magic damage bonus and 60 magic accuracy, which is slightly worse than Staff of the Dead. But the power of the staff really shines when attacking dragons, because you get extra 20% damage and 50% accuracy against any draconic creature. Along with the recent elemental weaknesses update, this is actually pretty good alternative to using other Dragonbane weapons. DPS wise, it's a little bit worse, but I tested it out at Rune Dragons and you can stack so much damage on top of each other here. The magic damage percentage you get from the gear, the extra 20% damage you get from the staff, the 50% elemental weakness that Rune Dragons have, and if you're on a Slayer test, you can even add extra 15% with a Slayer helmet. I think it's a good weapon and it finally gives magic some more wiggle room between ranged and melee setups. And finally, I didn't directly put this into reward because it's probably going to be a common drop, but we are getting a prayer regeneration potion. This potion has been in the original RuneScape for years now and is finally making it into old school RuneScape. The potion is pretty simple. It gives you 8 prayer points every single minute and it gives you 66 prayer points per dose. And it has an 8-minute duration as well. It's definitely more meant as a value potion rather than a benefit benefit to see straight away. For example, since I have 99 prayer, if I sip one dose of this potion and I turned on protection prayers, my prayer would run out in 7 minutes instead of 5 minutes. So essentially I get 2 extra minutes of protection. To make the potion itself, you firstly need the seed drop from Serpent's boss, and you need to grow the herbs yourself. They are also tradable. And if you want a secondary ingredient to make the prayer regeneration potion, we have to jump to the next update about Varlamore Part 2, which is the first herblore minigame in old school RuneScape. Oh, and by the way, I have so many Varlamore videos coming out in the next week, so if you want to see those as well, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on the next video. Thank you very much. Mastering Mixology, the new herblore minigame. The TLDR of this minigame is that these bad boys here are doing herblore like nobody else in Gillanor, and everyone is getting on the hype train. So the boys need your help to make enough potions, and you have to learn their ways. To firstly get here, there are a few options. Number 1, you can take the boat from Sunset Coast, which takes you right to Aldarin Island. And the second option is brand new BOH on the island where you can locate your house. Now the minigame itself is slower draining method than just doing potions, but the benefit comes from the rewards. The good thing about this minigame is that it doesn't use secondary ingredients, so you only really need to use herbs here. To start the minigame itself, it's very simple. There is a bank right next to the starting point, and just take out 28 unnoted herbs. Then you go to the nearby refinery and let it process your entire inventory. Basically, this refinery turns your herbs into one of the bastes, which is Mox, Aga and Lio based. Different herbs give different types of paste, and you need all 3 paste to make the new potions. So for example, here I'm using worms and I'm getting the lye paste. You can store up to 300 of each paste in the hopper right next to it, and once you have all 3 pastes, you can start making potions. On the top left corner, you have 3 different potions orders, and the icon next to the name tells you if you need the potion to be concentrated, crystallized or homogeneous. So you just use the levers on the mixing table depending on your order and place it into mixing vessel. Then you grab the unfinished potion from the vessel and either concentrate, crystallize or homogeneize that bad boy depending on what the order is. Once that's done, you put the potion on the conveyor belt and you get points based on how many pastes you used and some herblore experience along the way. The secret to understanding what potion to make is very simple. The recipes are abbreviations and first letters of the potions themselves. In this example, I'm looking at the bottom potion, which is Mammoth Might Mix. Each starting letter of that phrase starts with an M. So it's Mammoth M, Might M, Mix M. So I know I need 3 Mox to make the potion, which is also starts with M. And the double sign next to the order tells me I need to homogekos to finish the potion. So here's another example. Same potion, MMM, Mammoth Mega Mix, but this time I need to crystallize it because it has the flask icon next to it. But if the first letters of the potions are too complicated for you, you can just grab a book out of this bookshelf here and it has all the recipes inside. You can just take a screenshot of that and use it kind of like a cheating tool. The game loop is very simple to understand once you've done it for like 10 minutes. You just pick up a potion, pull the right levers and use one of the 3 options to finish the potion. That's it. Okay, let's talk about the rewards. The first one is Potion Bag, which consists of 3 tiers: Apprentice, Adept and Expert. Opening this up will reward you tons of potions, and the better the bag, the better the potions you will receive. Right now, I don't recommend buying this because players have said the potions are not worth the currency, but Jagex will likely buff this in the future. There is also the Alchemist outfit, which gives you 10% chance to save a secondary ingredients, but only the goggles are actually required for the effect to take place. The next potion is Goading Potion, which basically allows you to aggro any non-aggressive NPC. You can do this by using the Aldarin, which you can buy from the shop, and using it on a Haralander potion. The best use case for this is something like Dust Devils, so you don't have to dart them one by one, and the monsters in a 9x9 radius are all aggressive while the potion has effect. Next item is Region's Pouch, which will allow you to store 26 secondary ingredients, so you can take out 26 unfinished potions and this item to make the full inventory potions without needing to bank. And next one, this is my favorite, the Pre-Pot Device. This reward allows you to drink up to 5 different potions all at once. Really useful during pre-potting phase in raids. And finally we have the potion storage, which is not even an item but an account unlock. After unlocking this from the reward store, a new element of the bank will allow you to place potions into it. This is meant to not take up standard bank slots for potions. In this new interface you can only see potions and choose your favorites for an easier access. And that's pretty much it. It's a very simple activity, but I really like it because doing the same herblore training in a bank for hours gets boring real fast. The current experience rates and rewards are adjusted slightly wrong in my opinion. It's very slow, but I think Jagex will take a look at it and balance it out in the upcoming weeks. Okay, let's jump to the next update. Colossal Wyrm Agility Course. A brand new agility update that came with Varlamore Part 2. The course itself has two options. One is the simple one with 50 agility and the other one is advanced with 62 agility requirement. The experience you're getting in this course will be slightly below other options in this level range due to its low intensity. The best you can probably do is roughly around 40,000 agility experience per hour. The course itself is very simple, just like any other rooftop agility, and it's really very chill. There is a part in the middle of the course where you literally have like a 20-second downtime. If you're running around the course, you also have a chance to find termites and bone shards. Your character will automatically pick them up as you go along the course, and you will get roughly 200 termites per hour, and you will also get bone shards, which will give you extra passive 7k prayer experience per hour. The two main rewards are Amoxliatl specs and Colossal Wyrm Agility Course teleports. There is also a reward for Graceful Recolor, and finally there is an option for Squirrel Transmog, which I think looks the coolest. This agility course is definitely for someone who wants to watch a movie or a Kriibus YouTube video while also training their skill. Perfectly chill and decent experience. Next up we have a new Slayer dungeon. To access this dungeon you need to complete the sequel to Twilight Promise quest, which is the Heart of Darkness. With a guide, this quest takes roughly 25 minutes to complete. Once you complete it, it unlocks the Ice Dungeon. First of all, there is a demi-boss for Naguas with an improved loot table, and I must say this is probably my favorite part of this update. It's a very fun boss to do. It has a pet drop as well, and it's fairly simple. It's almost like Scurrius but in an ice form. I really like doing it. You can get like 50 cases per hour, and it's roughly 2 million GP hour moneymaker. The mechanics of the boss are fairly simple. Firstly, it's weak to crush attacks, and there's two main things you have to look out for. One is the boss throws down ice blocks that you have to destroy before it heals the boss, and the second one is a powerful magic attack that removes your prayers and you have to activate it again to take 0 damage. The rewards are mostly alcohols, runes. It also has the new weapon I mentioned before, which is the Glacial Demodli, and I actually got it as a drop pretty early on. I sold the hammer for roughly 500k each, and I think it's a good weapon that requires 55 attack and has basically the same DPS as something like Dragon Scimitar, but it works as a crush weapon. And the other drop I got from this boss was the Pendant of Hades, and you can use this amulet to travel around the new parts of Varlamore. But firstly, you need to activate these places to use them. There are a total of 4 locations on the pendant. Number 1 is the Dark Forest, which is right next to the Serpent boss I mentioned before. Number 2 is the Twilight Temple, which teleports you right next to the Slayer dungeon I just talked about. Number 3 is Rala's Rise, which is right next to the Tiamat. And number 4 is north of Aldarin, which is another alternative option to teleport to the island. Once you activate all 4 places, you can use Frozen Tears, which are common turps from the boss, on the pendant. And now you have this new amulet that allows you to teleport to all 4 places. It is very convenient, and I would definitely recommend grinding this out. It saves so much time. I think the Slayer dungeon, the pendant, the new mid-game crush weapon and the demi-boss are easily the best part about this update. And finally, just a small little update that is pretty cool is the costume needle. The new needle can be used in a way that doesn't require you to use a thread, and this actually is a pretty massive update. To acquire the needle, you need to first complete Death on the Isle quest. That takes about 20 minutes with a guide, but I would highly recommend doing this without a guide. It's actually a pretty fun quest, and there is a lot of funny dialogue in the quest. After the quest is completed, you can come downstairs behind the theater and talk to the costumer, and she will give you a new needle. The reason it's so good is because oftentimes you are always one spot away from having the perfect crafting experience when doing D-height bodies. But since now you don't need a thread anymore, you can perfectly craft 9 D-height bodies in one inventory compared to 8 before. This slightly increases your experience per hour and is also very convenient. Overall, it felt like there was nothing big with this update, but I think Jagex will take in all the feedback and make adjustments accordingly. But that's about it. I thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another one. Bye!